Hey everybody, it's Professor Merlot with the Week 12 overview. We are in the final month of the semester, final month of this course. We have week 12, week 13, week 14, week 15 is the final week of classes. We do have finals week. There is not a final in this class, but I use that as kind of a catch up week for anybody who might need to catch up on any of the missed assignments that they want to uh, kind of a last ditch effort to submit before I do the final grading. So we don't have a whole lot of time left together. Week 12, we are working on evaluating sources since we are now in our final research unit. And evaluating sources is something that's really important. It's kind of this critical thinking, critical reading, and critical writing skill that I like to impart to my first year writing students. So it's important to know how to evaluate your source since not all information is treated in the same way. When you begin to learn about research for academic purposes, you have to start discerning between what's reliable and what's credible and what is, quite frankly, BS. So that's what we are going to be focusing on this week. The objectives here are to be able to locate credible sources using the library database. The library database is a fantastic resource. I have a whole separate video that I really encourage you to watch because it's very informative. It will walk you through how to use the library database to help you with your research. You'll also be learning how to implement correct MLA citation and format. You'll be choosing a position slash stance related to your chosen topic. You'll be drafting a working title, a claim, and a thesis statement, and you will be evaluating sources for suitability for your topic. So, as far as the readings, most of the readings will be centered around that whole concept of evaluating sources. I do have a reading on modifiers from Grammarly for your weekly grammar quiz. Um, and if you have the writer's practice downloaded, there are a few pages on pages 135 to 140 in the PDF on the topic, Why Should I Trust This? Understanding Sources. However, the main reading is this module from the University of Mississippi Red Lab called Evaluating Sources. I'd like you to work through the whole module. I almost lost the word there. But instead of me clicking through the whole module, I'll just pull up the main table of contents um, and come to this table of contents to come to the listing for the module. So we have several pages. They'll talk about scholarly versus non scholarly sources. And then let me scroll up to the top of the page. There'll be a discussion of types of sources. Um, and then the one thing that I'd really like you to focus on is the CRAAP analysis of print sources. CRAAP is an acronym standing for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. We sometimes refer to it as the CRAAP test, and this is a list of criteria that you would go through and use to evaluate your sources to make sure that they're the most suitable for your purposes. There's also some information on online sources as far as currency, relevance, and authority. Remember that not everything online can be trusted, so it's really important, especially in this online class, that you learn how to sift through the massive amounts of information that we have available to us on the internet. There's also information on multimedia sources and how to best evaluate those, and then a summary page at the end of the module for evaluating the sources. So that's a really fantastic module. It's lots of good information. So I highly recommend that you read it. There's also my own Canvas page here on Google and Wikipedia for research. I will have to edit that because it's not coming up correctly. And then we have our two readings for this week. The first one is Stop Googling, Let's Talk by Sherry Turkle. This is from the New York Times. I think it was published in somewhere in the neighborhood of 2012 to 2014. I'm not quite sure of the exact date. And then we have a reading from Chicky Davis, Four Ways Technology Can Make You Happier. So we have one that's kind of against tech and the others that's kind of pro tech. We also have a few other informative things. There's an infographic that talks about the variety of different types of sources. So that's an interesting page to go to. And then I have Does Your Source again. I don't know why these pages aren't coming up correctly. I apologize for that. I will make sure that I get these edited for you. Um, does your source pass the CRAAP test? So, this is a list of questions that you can then ask yourself as you are evaluating your sources. As far as the videos to watch this week, as I said before, I have a whole separate video that I've recorded on library resources. It's roughly 24 minutes long, but it tells you all about how to use the UC library databases. And it's filled with lots of tips and tricks as far as things you can do to help with citations and that kind of stuff. So I really recommend that you take the time out to watch that. Our library also has this video that they've shared with us called Evaluating Sources for Credibility, and that's just kind of a basic overview of why evaluating sources is an important part of your research. Um, what I really want to emphasize here, even though it says recommended, if you enjoy the crash course videos, if you like listening to John Green and watching um, the crash course videos, there is a whole playlist for navigating digital information. It's super informative. It's a really great series. I highly recommend it if you have the extra time to sit and watch a video. Um, if not, there are two videos that I really recommend. The first one is Who Can You Trust from Crash Course. I also have notes for that video. That's a Microsoft Word um, document that you can download, as well as the video using Wikipedia. If you would be in one of my face-to-face classes, we do spend some time discussing the positive use of Wikipedia as well as Google, how those things can help you to jumpstart your research. But using Wikipedia or Google are not the acceptable sources for information for your college papers. So that's a really good video as well. The assignments this week, again, grammar quiz number 7, modifiers, and then we have the worksheet, which is a source evaluation. I'm going to open that up for you and talk you through this information. So after you go through the information on evaluating sources, you've read through the CRAAP test, all of that stuff, then watch the evaluating sources for finding quality research. Read Stop Googling, Let's Talk, and the 4 Ways Technology Can Make You Happier. So you've done all of the readings and watching that you've had to do for the week. Then I want you to choose one of these two articles. So either Stop Googling, Let's Talk, or 4 Ways Technology Can Make You Happier. Whichever one resonates the most with you is probably the easiest to evaluate, right? Then you will complete the source evaluation assignment for the site by copying and pasting the criteria below into a document and uploading it for submission. So the things that I want you to include is the title of the source. Even though we have it up here, I need to know which one you're actually talking about. So you'll have to put the title of the source. You will also put the author of the source, the publication or post date that should be found on the article itself. Not the date that I created the document, but the date that the article was originally published. If there's a URL, you can share the URL If not, don't worry about it. And then I want you to think about authority, audience, point of view, purpose, and sources. So, authority, you are considering who the author is, what makes them an expert, why should we listen to them. If you don't know much about the author, then who published the information? Was it a reputable publisher, a newspaper, a magazine, a website? Who was it, right? Who do you think the primary audience for the information is? Um, and then think about point of view. Does the point of view appear objective and impartial? That is, it's not siding with one side or the other. It's looking at all of the various options out there, all of the various arguments. And is the information appealing to the emotions or a certain type of bias? Again, I will refer to what John Green likes to call in one of those videos perspective instead of bias. And then we will look at the purpose. Is the information presented as facts or as opinions? And why was the information created? Was it to inform, persuade, report, or entertain? Lastly, think of the author's use of sources. Do they cite their sources? So that could be a list of references at the end, a work cited, or it could be hyperlinks, or maybe just an in text reference to another expert in the field. So, like, according to Dr. So and so, blah, 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 right? Um, Similar to what you would do when you are using evidence from somebody else. And if the sources are included, are they credible sources? So, again, this is where your critical thinking skills really come in, and you start to evaluate whether or not this source is a quality source, whether or not it would be suitable for your research. Um, so, that is the source evaluation quote unquote worksheet. I call it a worksheet, even though it's just a list of things that you have to copy and paste into a document. Um, so I think that is it. Again, I will correct these 2 pages that are not coming up and make sure that you have all the information that you need. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to me. That is why I'm here. Um, we're back from spring break, so I will be more attentive to my emails. All right, take care, everybody, and have a fantastic week. Bye bye.